Hello, Acwano here, and back for another P5X quick character guide. And this time, it's Nijima Makoto from P5, aka Queen, a single target nuclear DPS. If you want more quick guides like this, feel free to subscribe, and let's not waste any more time. First of all, let's talk about Queen's skills. In which order should you use them, which ones should you use, and in which order should you level them up. So first of all, when it comes to her normal rotation, ideally, you want to be spamming her skill 3 as much as possible. Why? Queen is all about tenacity stacks to then get 5 of them, enter the Iron Will status, and then increase her damage by a lot and unleash insane amount of damage with her third skill. Now, the thing is, her third skill is also the one that gives you the most tenacities among her 2 damaging skills. And you usually want to click damage moves with her at any times. Now, if it's a harder boss, you can use her second skill, which heals an ally, because it does give her 3 tenacity stacks if an enemy is afflicted by an elemental ailments, which is more than her third skill. So yes, for example, you could do skill 3 into skill 2 to then get your 5 tenacity stacks and enter Iron Will. But you do lose some damage by doing that. So for example, in guild bosses, you ideally want to spam the skill 3 all the time. Now, when you use your highlight, you could use her skill 1 in AoE situations and to make your highlight stronger, since your highlight does benefit from the enemy having elemental ailments. So all of her skills can be useful, but you ideally want to spam the third one, which means her leveling priority is straightforward. You want to focus on her third skill, and then her first skill, which is the AoE one. Then you want to level up her healing skill, which can be pretty useful to stack tenacity, and then level up her ult last. Now, Queen doesn't have a skill that she doesn't really use, unlike some other characters. So, for example, Yusuke and Yui both have a skill they're almost never going to use, so they can just focus all the resources and leveling up the other skills. For Makoto, you can't really do that. So leveling priority isn't as important for her. You can just level up every single skill, but focus on the third one. Obviously, get the third skill as high level as you can first. And if you want a simplified version of the skill rotation, just spam skill 3 and ult on cooldown. Now let's talk about her weapon options. Now, this is the first character which I actually recommend pulling her weapon. Yusuke, I didn't really recommend it that much because, you know, his weapon is not worth compared to other characters coming later. Same thing for Yui, same thing for Joker, and Marianne, you can get her weapon for free when she comes to standard, which is arguably very late, but anyways, I didn't know that at the time. But in this case, the gap between her 2 weapons is crazy. So if you like Makoto, if you want big damage, big numbers, definitely pull for her weapons if you've been saving your weapon pulls. Now, the only caveat, the only problem about pulling Makoto's weapon is that the character that comes right after Makoto is Cord, which arguably has the 5-star weapon with the most value because she is a very versatile support that is best in slot for almost every single DPS. So yeah, her 5-star weapon is going to have very, very high value since she's going to be played in a lot of comps. Makoto is only going to be useful against single target bosses and mostly her own guild boss that is weak to nuclear. So yeah, if you really like Makoto, don't feel bad about pulling for weapon. It is crazy. Now, for team composition, it is very easy. You want Vino, a sustain, and pretty much any navigator. Vino is an obvious pair with her. Vino is literally made to support Makoto. As for navigators, you ideally don't want to use Puppet with Makoto. You probably want to use Puppet with your other team. For example, if you're playing Guild Boss, you have 2 teams, use Puppet for the other. For Makoto, she definitely benefits from having Okyan, since Okyan also synergizes with elemental ailments, or the next navigator that's coming, Phoebe, because she gives her a big buff for having another nuclear character in the team. Phoebe is a very good navigator for teams that have more than 1 character of the same element. So since Makoto is always played with Vino, it's perfect. Now for the support, literally everyone works. Marianne and Soy are the ones I would recommend a lot. For horror battles that you really struggle to survive in, use Marianne. or Luful if you don't have Marian. And for like battles are a bit easier, but you still need a bit of sustain, use Soy because he's crazy in terms of single target shred, which, you know, helps Makoto, who's also a single target DPS. So the ideal team for now would be Vino, Marian, and Okyan, and Phoebe when she comes out. For Wonder Personas, the best one is obviously Bishamonten, which perfectly synergizes with Makoto. He does extra damage against enemies that are afflicted by ailments. He increases the nuke damage taken of the enemy. He also has a skill that just increases the damage taken overall if the foe is inflicted by an elemental ailment, which is, you know, perfect for Makoto. That is the best persona you want with Makoto, but it is only available when you unlock the highest tiers of personas when you get to account level 70. So before that, you can use pretty much any buffer that synergizes well with, you know, a crit attack DPS. So Succubus, Komokten, very, very good. Also, Dionysus, which is the best buffing persona. You want it in pretty much every single team, almost. So, Bishamonten and Dionysus together gotta be very, very good. Pretty much mandatory for the Makoto team. The best and pretty much only option for Makoto in terms of revelations is the Truth set with the Awareness Space Guard. For main stats, you want attack percent or damage bonus, which is I think called attack multiplier in global on the moon. You want crit rate on the star and attack percent on the planet card. For substats, you want to prioritize crit rate, pierce, attack multiplier, attack percent, and obviously crit mult is also good. Like crit mult is just as good as crit rate. You just want a good balance of both. For the late game, try to aim for at least 40% crit rate. In terms of awareness, it is important to note that her A1 is crazy. If you want to make your Makoto, if you want to make your Makoto more future-proof and hit like a fucking truck, well, her A1 is the one to go with. It makes it so you get 5 stacks of tenacity as soon as you enter battle, which procs your Iron Will right away, and it gives you a free 50% attack boost during Iron Will, which is crazy. This is very good because you don't waste a couple turns getting to Iron Will, which makes your score against guild bosses and stuff like that very much higher. I do not recommend going higher than A1 unless you're a Giga Whale, in which this doesn't matter to you anyways. But yeah, after A1, I'm not a big fan. I don't think it's worth the price. But before that, A1 is kind of crazy. Also, I just got news that her A1 has been buffed in global only, and now gives an extra bonus 35% damage bonus. I was like, why not? Just on top of how good it was already. So A1 is very, very worth pulling for. That's it for the Makoto quick guide. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for 5,000 subs, by the way. That's crazy. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and if you want more quick guides like this one. It was Acwano. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.